Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Soulful Success Book Club. We're here, we talk about inspirational and motivational books. And we are continuing with the first book we started here, which is my book, The Little Book About You. And remember, it's a self help workbook. You start at your pace, you complete it in your own time because you cannot just go through and read it and expect to start practicing the practices. So you have to choose one. You begin to evaluate the principle, and then you can use these suggested practices, or you can share your own, and that's why we're here. For the people who may have already gotten a book and the people who have started their practices, I want to hear about those. I want you to share those. I want other people to be inspired by some of the things you did to help move you forward on your journey. Just like we are all going to share in a safe space things or words in different motivational books that inspired us, how we used them, how we practiced them, how we made them our own. And that's what this book club is about, inspiring. Don't forget, and I did not get my book out. Um, this month, after we should finish this book today, and our next book is going to be Strength Fighters 2.0 by Tom Rafe at our next book club meeting, which will be the 17th, Sunday, 3:17, 9 a.m. I'll be here. Hope you join me in starting that book. And then that way it gives you time to get it. And also, if you want to go back to 1.0, I read 1.0 a few years ago when I started my journey, but 2.0 is that plus. So it's probably just better. But sometimes how we work, we have to go back to that original one to get the full concept of the growth, even that you can tell the author had. Um, and as an author of going on my fourth book, I can see how sometimes your insight at one part of your life changes at another part of your life. So, again, my name is Tiffany Brown. I am a mother of four adult children and three grandchildren, and I have the most amazing man in my life. I am a retired educator and now an author. So I am enjoying that. And since I like self help books, um, I decided to write self help books. Plus, they were based off things that helped me on my journey up until this point. Because, as we know, even at this age, the journey does not end until everything ends. So, on my journey as I continue, but up until this point, some of the things that helped me get this far and accomplish goals um, that at first I didn't know was possible. It was so liberating to start to see that enhancing these basic principles, we always see them as basic, but we never put attention to them or be intentional with them and making them part of our character. So, with that was why this was always my first book, The Little Book About You. It actually, when I started this book probably about 6 years ago, it was not going to be in this form, but as I continued my journey and reading other books, and you get the full concept, but sometimes what I didn't, which is why I'm asking you to be at this book club, get was okay, I hear all the information. I believe the information. I wasn't sure how to actually make it work for me. So, in my journey and sharing some of the tips, tricks, activities that I actually use. And then I still like to hear from even me writing the practices. Some people might have some other perspectives on some different practices that maybe I haven't heard of. So this book club is kind of to share those books, and then hey, I had that experience. I used that as a practice. I made it a part of my habit. So I want to hear those as I continue my journey, and hopefully someone helps me um, with different perspectives on some of the things that I may not have picked up on um, as of now. Like I've learned a lot, but it you have to go over it sometimes to click. But maybe hearing that different perspective is what's gonna help it click for me. So, same vice versa with me sharing these practices that I've used. So, moving on. Today we are on number 9, and again, it's the little book about you um, that we are finishing in this third book session. And remember, the next book session is 17th at 9 a.m. right here on my live again. So here we go. Number 9 is be mindful. And we did this last week, but something is telling me let's go over it again. And it's because I have probably consciously, I'm being conscious, um, been thinking about setting that intention for today. So it was a new habit that I started, making sure every day when I meditate, that I think about what am I going to offer to the world today? What's going to be my intention, not only to myself, but to everyone I come around? And during meditation, usually I can get that. But life happens. So life has been happening, it's been busy, it's a lot going on. So I'm thinking I'm missing my intention. So be mindful is why I want to repeat, because I did talk about it last week. And so principle 9, be mindful. Mindfulness is the awareness of the present moment without judgment or attachment. It helps you to be more focused, calm, and balanced. It helps you accept yourself and others as they are instead of trying to change them or control them. It also helps you appreciate the beauty and joy in life. And so when I was on the journey up to this point, being mindful took me out of expectations. It took me out of judgments. It took me out of trying to look past the moment, and I don't know why. So I started thinking, why not just enjoy? So I always called it my happy land. My happy land. Um, just leave me there. I come out when I have to, but I prefer to stay there. And that was where I could be, where I didn't look forward to nothing else but the moment. And it just made life so much more enjoyable. And I started to feel real joy within, because, as I called it, my happy land was non judging, not looking for what's the next moment, what we planning for tomorrow. But when I had those people, my family and true friends around me, I could feel the joy just in the moment. Not trying to plan to have another one next year, next week, next, but right now in this moment. And so it teaches you to quit looking around. The past is gone, so you might as well let that go. Hey, when you reflect or you see something similar, what was the lesson I got? Because Don't bring up the trauma of it. What did I get out of it? How do I use it as a tool to keep pushing me forward? Because I can't go back and change it. So I started like, and the future happens because of today in this moment. Because if you feel joy, then you're admitting that joy, and everybody get to feel the joy in the presence of you. And then it made such a better difference. And so the practices that I put here were: practice meditation. Meditation is a technique that trains your mind to be more mindful. It involves sitting quietly and observing your breath, or simply paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, sensations, or surroundings in the present moment. And that's all I did. So it wasn't even so much, yes, I did meditate. Um, when I started, I followed this meditation um, process of meditating by the minutes of your age. And it took practice. And at that time, I want to say 45, maybe 44, 45, somewhere in my mid 40s, um, the meditation. And then once I started the meditation by doing the amount of time of my age, it took like multiple times to even clear my mind in that amount of time. The hardest part was sitting there still with my mind twirling for the whole 45 minutes. And then you think like, why did I sit here? But I had to realize it's a habit you have to build. And so we might not like it because I'm just sitting here and I don't see it. But remember, you got to practice. That's why I put a principle with a practice. Because just knowing the principle don't give us the practice. And then you got to actually do the practice to see the difference. And so once I realized what that took, it wasn't about the clearing my mind. It was about having the discipline to sit there in the quiet and the still and just recognize and take the moment and take the deep breaths. And how that took me into being mindful, which now I'm at being intentional because I am mindful. So this is why Strength Finder is such a great book that we're doing next, because when we enhance the skills we have, it increases the ones we need to build on because they all work together because so do you. So um, you can meditate for as little as 5 minutes. You might want to start there. Like, can I just sit still and quiet for 5 minutes? And that's what you have to decide. And then move up some time. And then these 5 minute meditations also help you at work when you only have a few minutes. And maybe moving on to the next part of whatever you're working on. And I'm not going to just say at work, in your career, in your life, in whatever your passion is or purpose, when you just take a deep breath, even before. So I completed this part. Celebrate a little, take a deep breath, take a moment to kind of bring that celebration, because what we do today affects us tomorrow, into taking a minute, observing, and recognizing your next steps to keep pushing forward. So I'm just going to say, being mindful, intention is pretty much all the same. Um, and like I said, something that I did not add in here as a practice is setting your intention. And then when you set your intention, that keeps you mindful. So some days I just set my intention. I'm just going to be compassionate to everyone. I'm always kind, so I don't have to choose that, but compassion sometimes because we get lost in our own past. situations where we're not accepting today for today and the person in front of us for who they are, but putting them in a position of something we went through with somebody else who had different experiences and life choices, such as this person. They're a whole nother person with different experiences and life choices. I'm not saying that some people don't have some of the same habits. I'm just saying they still two individuals with different um, experiences and habits. So we cannot say just because we felt like they did something similar to someone else that they are that same person. That's unfair because you wouldn't want that. So being mindful, choosing an intention for the day. And it could just be whatever you're practicing. Your intention can be just to be more mindful. All right, so we're moving on to 10. 10 is be kind. So, principle 10, be kind. Kindness is being friendly, generous, and considerate towards others. It helps you connect with people, build relationships, and spread joy. It helps you empathize with others, understand their perspectives, and respect their differences. Mm. It helps you give back to the world, make a positive impact, and leave a legacy. It benefits not only the recipients, but also the givers. Kindness boosts your happiness, health, and relationships. So, this is coffee, tea, mimosas while we fulfill our soul. And I got some mushroom coffee, and that's delicious. And of course, my Libra cup. Mm, 'cause I'm a Libra all day. Mm. So, it's crazy that sometimes I think, why did I put be kind as number 10? Because this is where I started my journey. I was like, why? I wanted to see the effect of it. Actually, it was an experiment when I started my journey, and I started with be kind. So, be kind is just being friendly, generous, considerate towards everybody. Be kind also help to build relationships. Like at first, just being kind all the time was like, okay. And people were like, wait a minute, she just kind. What's wrong with her? People actually thought something was wrong with me, but I actually started to feel the joy in being kind. So, like I say with this book, don't start at one. You start where you think you need to be from where you are at that moment that you start. Not yesterday I had this or tomorrow I'm gonna start here. No, when you pick up this book and you flick through and you kind of glance through and you say, I'm going back to number 3 because number 3 is where I am right now and what I need to enhance right now to help me move forward, leaving everything else back there. And like I said, the practice, there are suggestions, but create your own. As you can see, I write in my book. This was my book after I wrote it because some things I actually had to go back and enhance. You know, they lose the way or you get caught up in because life happens. But that's the whole purpose. You have to know when to go back because life is happening is when you really need these principles. You really need to be mindful and considerate and stay focused or um, be optimistic, especially in life. Life happens, as I call it. Can't get can't get past it, but we can get through it. And how we get through it determines what happens when we get to the other side of it. But if we stay in the moment and work with and be realistic with it, it makes it so much easier to get through it. And you're going to have a much greater outlook once you get to the other side. But if it's, woe is me, oh, I can't be kind, nobody kind to me. We have to remember if nobody ever is kind to you, as long as you are kind. Mm, mm. I try to explain to somebody because somebody asked me, why are you so kind? Why do you do these nice things? And I said, because it's about me. And at first, I could understand that they didn't get it because they so busy. Well, so and so didn't do it, or they don't never do it, or she always do this or that. But I was like, what that got to do with you? So why would you change who you are because they being who they are? And so I said, a lot of times when people are unkind, I also know it's about them internally. And it's really not about me, especially if they don't know me, never met me, and they're yelling or having an issue. How am I going to take that personal? They don't even know me. So, with that being said, with them not even knowing me, I know it's about them, or knowing who I truly am. When somebody trying to tell me who I am, I always know it's a reflection because first of all, you don't know nobody like that to be telling them who they are. You can see their traits and their habits because they do it. Like I say, you wipe that board every time, or I notice you dust every Tuesday. You can say that. That's something you see, but not when somebody don't even know you. How are you upset? People at work, if you're not their friends outside of work, which shouldn't be a thing, they don't really know you. They can't tell you about you. They can tell you what they see at the job, but they can't tell you who you truly are because they don't know. They see you at work. They don't see you at work, at church, in social, wherever you be at, on a date, in your household with your kid. They don't know you. People who are around you in all of your situations, they know you. So, being kind, it's just being friendly. Be generous. Can't take nothing to the grave with you. Hold on to everything. Don't get you nowhere and it don't help build relationships. I'm not saying be naive. That's what I'm not saying. I'm saying, why do you have to be unkind because somebody else is unkind? And why do you yell back when somebody yell at you? And I'm gonna use Karen's as an example because she don't know you. And those are her own issues inside of her. So I always say, not turn out the cheek, but walk away and leave them yelling by themselves. Even in an argument with a sister, brother, cuz why we yelling? Because we're not gonna hear each other. Nothing's gonna be solved. And life too short. Mm, hold that thought. Okay, thank you. So what happened was I have a smart house and you have to test the clicker weekly. And I usually do it. It hadn't beat. So I usually do it before I start. But it hadn't beat. So I was like, it must be later in the day. But anyway, if it's not tested weekly, it just, I think they might have just put that beeping to drive me crazy. Because what alarm do you have to test weekly? I don't even cook that much to have no fire. And being a plant based eater, I don't cook that much anyway because I like raw fruits and vegetables a little bit better. And they taste less work. You just chop them up and put them in a bowl and then put something mm, tasty on top. Okay, so the practice for big kind, back on topic, is Perform random acts of kindness every day. This could be anything from smiling at a stranger, giving a compliment, helping someone in need, donating to a cause, or volunteering for a charity. Keep a kindness journal and write down what you did and how it made you feel. So, as you can see behind me, and I liked last year's a little bit better, I print out the kindness calendar every year. I have one on my work desk as well as right here. And each day it gives you something that you can do to be kind. And I'm just going to say this from Random Acts of Kindness. You can just pull it up, Random Acts of Kindness, and it gives you a free printed out calendar for you to. They have one that the one at work is for doing kindness things at work. So they have one for the workplace, one for school age different children, and they have the one um, for a regular person. This helped me also be kind because you don't realize the little things, and we all want the little things, as they say. It's the little things. For me, it's the big things, but being kind and taking my journey, starting with kindness, this helps. So I'm just share what today says because I know you can't see it. Leave a surprise gift or a note for a neighbor. And I'm gonna take this bill down. This is bad. For a neighbor. Tomorrow, because I want to talk to you, discover your family tree and share your findings with your relatives. So you probably have to create it or look for it today after we finish this. I'm not sure. But like I said, you can pull it up. It's called the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation, and it's a yearly calendar. Yesterday was eat a healthy snack today. I ate apples yesterday. Yay! Um, so it gives you something daily. Some things, like I live in Arizona, it might say shovel a neighbor's snow. Not gonna happen. It might be help an elderly shovel their snow or whatever. But if you know you don't have snow, just think of something else you can do for what's recommended. And remember, these also have do for yourself because you got to be kind to yourself as well, and you got to start there. So being kind might start with just being nice to yourself, saying nice things, complimenting your own self. So I'm going to read over the practice again because I think I went rambling. Practice 10 to be kind. Perform random acts of kindness every day. This could be anything from smiling at a stranger, giving a compliment, helping someone in need, donating to a cause, or volunteering for a charity. Keep a kindness journal and write down what you did and how it made you feel. And sometimes just smile because a smile goes miles. And I'm gonna tell you when I knew I that kindness mattered. I was at the nail shop and I was washing my hands. You know, when they get through with all the dust or whatever, they go wash your hands. So I'm at the sink, and there are two sinks, and this other young lady walks up and being kind, just saying hello. I looked over, I said, how are you today? With a smile. Never saw her in there before, not a regular, because there were a lot of regulars. I was a regular. Um, and she like almost she looked at me like she was confused for a second, and then she looked like she was about to cry. So I'm like, she was like, thank you. She said, you just made my day. And I was like, you're welcome, and I'm glad I could do that. No more talk. Dried my hands, went and sat down. We didn't speak anymore. But sometimes, just a kind hello, you never know what people need. And so when I talk about once you do it, see how you felt. I felt so good that a simple hi, how you doing made somebody's day. Who wouldn't want that? Like, It was one of those moments for me, like how small, but how great. How small, but how great. So, moving on, we at 11. Mm. Be grateful. Principle 11 is be grateful. Gratitude is the foundation of happiness. Gratitude is the feeling of appreciation for what you have and what you receive. It helps you recognize the good in your life and the sources of it. Mm. Gratitude enhances your happiness, health, and relationships. Mm. So remember, I was saying how you work on the talents you do have and how it increases the ones we need to work on or be more mindful of. And gratitude, I tell you, every morning, I list. It's my gratitude journal. Let me show. I list morning gratitude, at least 5 of them daily. And then my achievements. Most of the time in the morning is my workout, challenges. Then I get to reflect. I get to journal at the end of the day. But I do not leave without doing my morning gratitude. And then in the evening, if I need to be grateful for something that happened, I can add it to my today's achievements. Or I can just reflect about it, which is how, with kindness, shows you what you should be grateful for. Again, the little things we always ask for. Um, just being able to get up in the morning. Just being grateful that my legs and arms work to work out every morning. Just being grateful I have the mind power to um, articulate things that's going to enhance my life. Um, just being able to have a roof over my head and have a full belly and drink my coffee. Um, when I want it, the little things, the all the things my different careers have taught me. Um, Healthcare for 30 years, teaching for 20, um, author for a year, um, nutrition counselor, program manager. Grateful for everything I learned and all the tools um, that came along with it, all the lessons, good, bad, or ugly, um, that I've learned throughout all the different careers that I've had and all the careers I've tried just to have the experience or for a better understanding for me. Because of the type of learner I am, I need to do it to understand it. And I just you have to be grateful um, for the experiences, because they give you the growth. Because when you look back and you say, "Oh, I remember I had to deal with a coworker," or "I remember I met these wonderful patients," and it was because or people because I was there at that time. And that was the season of life you in. And you put yourself there by your choices and whatever you choose to do. We are always where we are, where we supposed to be. So if you, where you at is all you. It's all you. And as long as you continue to push forward, you can get to where you want to be. But we also have to remember to be grateful for the things we do have in the moment, the knowledge, the um, abilities, the wisdom, because knowledge and wisdom are two different things, the opportunities and the health um, that you have right now is all you. But the health you want to have can be all you as well, because you just have to choose to want it. However, you get it, it's all about you. So, when it came to gratitude, being kind helped me reflect on being grateful a lot more. So, those two kind of go hand in hand for me. The practices that I used for Principle 11 was I kept a gratitude journal, as I just showed you. And I wrote down three things that you're grateful for every day in my journal, my daily, weekly planner journal. It is five because I started with three, as you can tell by what I put in this book. But as I made this weekly planner to create your own life for my clients that do the 90-day program, that it's called Enhance Yourself in 90 Days, where you implement and you really review yourself. And this planner comes with the 90-day program, but you have to get up every day and write down your goals for the day. What are you going to do um, to get there? And then every morning you talking about you grateful for this, that, and the other, and you putting it out to the universe that I appreciate what I have right now, so I'm ready for more. So, writing the things down that you are grateful for every day when you first wake up is the practice that I started with. Like, I went to bed like this, I left that, but today I'm starting fresh, as one of the principles in here, starting fresh. You can start fresh every day. Um, and you start fresh by saying, hey, I'm thankful that this, that, and the other today, because I'm starting with today. Tomorrow is gone, and I have to get through today to create for tomorrow. They can be big or small, personal or general, material or spiritual. These are the things you're grateful for. Nobody else, not what nobody else think you should be grateful for, but you internally, from the inside. What are you grateful for? Feel the emotion of gratitude as you write them down. Express your thanks to someone who has helped you, or simply say thank you more often. Sometimes, if we just go back and really say, write a note, send an email these days, and just say, I really did appreciate the time you brought me the coffee, whatever it is. And then sometimes just a mere, when somebody gives you a compliment, oh, your hair looks, it's just a simple thank you. I had to learn that. I don't know why I used to be like, well, it's just something I threw together or whatever, or I was trying to get it together. Thank you. I appreciate that. Goes back with being kind. But when you're grateful and somebody give you a compliment, don't take it as nothing else. Because even if their intentions is one way or the other, it's how you want to perceive it. And you get to choose that. And you can say, even though I don't think, and I don't know why you think people don't like you if you never had a conversation and they specifically said, I don't like you. But you can simply say, that's so nice of her. Thank you for the compliment. You can't base it off what you think other people thinking. Base it off, I'm going to take this as nice. Because one way or the other, they thought about you enough to even say it, whether they was being facetious or not. So I'm just going to say, you just thank you. I appreciate that. Or go back and thank somebody with a little bit more because you know it impacted your life, but you probably just said thank you. But now you can go back and say, I really want to thank you again, and I really appreciate it when you did this, that, or the other for me. It really impacted my life because now that impacts them as well. And sometimes I think we so busy trying to be impacted that we forget we are also supposed to impact others. So be grateful. Mhm. All right. So 12 is be resilient. Principle 12, be resilient. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity and cope with stress. It helps you to overcome challenges and grow from them. Resilience is not something you are born with, it is something you can develop. So I'm just going to give you the practice to this so I can talk about it. So you got to be able to, and that's what I meant about going through it. You got to keep going and use things to help you with coping with it. Meditation, being honest with yourself, reviewing yourself in the situation and what you can maybe do different, or how you played a role in it, being accountable, um, being mindful. The thing I put out the other day, which was change your mind, solve the problem. So if we only seeing it from our point of view, we're gonna keep coming up with the same answers. We have to look at it from different perspectives in order to solve the problem. Because if we still in the problem, that means we only looking at it in one way, and that's our way. But you got to get outside yourself and see it from a different perspective in order to get the information to solve the problem. But if you're not solving it by your usual thinking, then change your mind, solve the problem. So, with being resilient, the practice would be to create a growth mindset. A growth mindset is believing you can improve your abilities and skills through effort and feedback. It helps you to embrace challenges, learn from mistakes, and seek opportunities for growth. So, this is what I mean: a growth mindset compared to a fix. A fix means I'm gonna only keep thinking the same way I have been, and I'm gonna still continue to have a problem. A growth mindset is let me look at it from a different angle besides what I only have from the other side, totally opposite. So instead of saying, I can't do that, you can say, I can do this with a little bit more practice and I'll get it done. Problem solved. Because you'll put the work in. But as soon as you dismiss your own self, it's already done. But if you say, with a little bit of practice, I can do this, and I will. It reminds me of my grandbaby, 2 years old, speaks very well, very intelligent. And she says she was going to do something. And she came back and she said, I tried. And I did it. That simple. I tried and I did it. And we celebrated because I believe in always celebrating a win. So she also understood that I first had to try. And that's a 2-year-old. Sometimes, and I can even say until I got older, try. If I had to try, that mean I couldn't do it. That's not what that mean. If you got to try, that mean you're going to push yourself into a new level of you, a new level of you, a new level of you, because you tried something. That means you added something to you as you tried it and you got it through practice, but you eventually got it. So be resilient. Create that growth mindset because you can. You just have to change your thinking from one side. And you can go watch my YouTube video on change your mind, solve the problem. Totally learn that. And that was through kindness, and being grateful because then you're not complaining, which was number three. Number three, no complaining. So, 13, be healthy. So, just know that the principle 13 is about you, your level of healthy, not nobody else's. Nobody else's. You got to remember everything is your standard, not what everybody else's is. People do share what they did, but if you feel some kind of way because they share that, hey, I went plant based, unless they say, you should go, you should do, you should eat, you should do. Ain't nobody telling you to go plant based just because they sharing they part of their journey with somebody they believe care to hear. Nobody, unless that person is saying, you should eat this, you should be plant based, you shouldn't eat that, that shouldn't be something you eat. Nobody telling you to go plant based when they just saying, hey, I went plant based and I really liked it. That don't mean you have to do it. That don't mean that's your healthy. Because for one, a lot of times when people have conversations, that's why I don't like people say you should go do this, you should go do that. Like merely now, suggestion that these from experience and experimentation, I know as, but I can't make you go and enhance your life with these principles and practices. I can suggest or I can share. I'm not going to even suggest. I'm going to say I can share my experience with you. And then it's up to you. So be healthy. Healthy is a state of being free from illness or injury. That's all. Illness or energy. Injury. Ooh, energy. Ah, injury. It affects your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well being. Health is not something you take for granted, it is something you take care of. So, the practice to that is creating a healthy lifestyle that includes regular exercise, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, hydration, and stress management. Avoid habits that harm your health, such as smoking, drinking, drugs, or overeating. Now, let me say this to say I have been in healthcare a long, long time. And I want to say that these are just examples smoking, drinking, drugs, or overeating. Because smoking, let's say a cigar, might be your decompress time. And we all know you don't inhale cigars. Some of them stinkier than others. But my point is that could be your mental, emotional well being because that's where you get to sit quiet. Could be. Um, I'm not promoting any of these things. I'm just saying that real life is real life. Um, Drinking sociably and responsibly when you with a group of friends could be mental for you. When I discuss smoking, drinking, drugs, overeating, it has to do with being healthy by moderation of these things. Mm. Because we can eat lettuce, mm, but if you overeat it, it gives you the adverse effects. So you want to be mindful of the habits. No habits that's not done in moderation are good habits. And that's just what I'm going to say about being healthy. So when it came to being healthy, the practice was creating a healthy lifestyle that includes regular exercise, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, hydration, and stress management on your own terms and how you see fit and how you want to start with who you are right now in this moment. And when you realize mind, body, and soul in a healthy state brings so many more healthy ideas and experiences and opportunities, then decide what else you can put into practice to help you reach being healthy. All right, so we are at be happy. Be happy. So be happy. Happiness is the feeling of satisfaction and enjoyment in your life. It is not something that depends on external factors. It is not something that comes from within. Happiness is not a destination, it's a journey. So I was just talking about happy land, right? You get to create that space where you feel the most happiness. And mine were moments, being in the moment with people I cared about. I always had family gatherings at my house or friends get togethers at my house. For one, I didn't have any pets, so it just makes it a lot easier. And I don't like when people have to lock up their pets in their own house. My aunt made a good point about that once. Um, and so I always considered that. I used to be a pet owner. I am not at this moment. I'm not home enough to take care of anything, barely myself, me and Walter. So, not going to do that. The practice to be happy is do what makes you happy more often and less of what doesn't. I started understanding what true happiness was for me the first time. I'm gonna say the first time in that part of life. I took a stress management class that was part of the degree I was working on at that time was which was weight training and physical conditioning, and I was taking a minor in nutrition, and she had us write out 25, which I use in my 90 enhance yourself because I don't think we get this, and I'm gonna explain why. So she had us write out 25 things that made us happy without other people, without other people, and happy from the inside. That even when we thought about it, it you could feel the happiness when you think about it. And at that time in my life, because at that age and where I was and who I was at that moment, did not understand um, that you can be internally happy by yourself. So was hard to create 25 things. Thought about bowling. I like bowling. And at the time, I liked bowling, but I had to consider I liked bowling. I like to bowl, but I wouldn't want to bowl by myself because I wouldn't see the fun in it. When you bowl with other people, you have the social part of it that still where I am in the moment and enjoying the moment with others. But when you have to think of things that bring you joy all by yourself and you're not really there, it makes it a little bit challenging. So I also, later in life, on this part of life's journey, um, had to do that again. And it was much more different. And it was because I had did so many more things by myself um, during my shutdown, as I call it, when I didn't date and just before I started dating again because it was just things I needed to work on for me. And trying to be in a relationship when I had so many things to figure out. And it was right at the time that my last child left home. And you get to the reality, they didn't all graduated high school, they all living on their own. And now you have to figure out, who am I? What do I enjoy? And being at a different age and a different place now, having children that have grown up and have left the nest, as they call it, it had me to redo that list. And like I said, by this point, with children being grown and doing their own thing, I had experienced a lot more things by myself. So the list became a little bit easier to write this time around. Um, 25 things that makes me happy internally by myself. Um, and I started doing things that only made me happy. I quit hanging out with people that did not make me happy or have me enjoying the moment because I had to realize again, like, I don't have fun. It's too tense. Um, Maybe in a different time. Um, but right now, where I was at, if it didn't bring something, a friend, if you wasn't giving me something and I'm giving you something back as a friend, what's the purpose of a friendship? Because we should be enhancing each other. Just like this book club is to enhance each other with these practices that we found to work for us that maybe could work for somebody else. And I had to consider that people I really enjoyed just wasn't adding to me. And maybe I wasn't adding anything with who I was at that time. So I always look to ask, even sometimes, what do I bring to the relationship we have? Because you might give something and I might not be giving back. And it might not be that I don't like you or want to give back, but if I'm not enhancing you as well as you enhancing me, then what's the purpose? And that's just where I am. And I tend to now try to enhance me by being around people who are similar. Nobody will ever be at the exact same place you are, but at least on the same page where we can have discussions that relate to where we are now and some of our future goals. Some, you don't share all your goals, but some of your future goals that align with the topics that you share. Um, so you always have to do what makes you happy more often than and less of what doesn't. This could be anything from spending time with loved ones, pursuing your passions, expressing your creativity, or having fun. Find your purpose and meaning in life and pursue it with passion. And this is how I got here, passion with purpose. Because pursue your passions and that will fulfill your purpose because I think we all have one, but that's my opinion. So we are at our last, and it's be yourself. Again, this could be your first one. You might be tired of pretending or saying you this, that, or the other when you need to be real with yourself to be real with others. You have to accept it sometimes. And then I don't know why we pretend to be something else with others. You just are who you are. And if they really care about you, then they understand that life happens sometimes. But be yourself. Yourself is the best version of yourself that you can be. It is not something that others define for you. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Let that representative go. Because then you're just wasting time on you. Then you can't create the life you want because you pretend to be something else. Be who you want to be. Pretend to be the person you really are as you work toward it. But you got to be working toward it. You can't just pretend to be them without working for it. It is something you discover for yourself. Yourself is not static, it is dynamic. Or change, or letting go of, or not expecting, or not judging, being kind, or being optimistic that is going to take you from ordinary to extraordinary. Extraordinary. One step, one try, one challenge, um, one leap of faith, one risk. So, practice 15 to be yourself, explore yourself, and find out who you are, what you want, and how you want to live. Experiment with different options and see what works for you and what doesn't. Be flexible and adaptable to change. That's going to be your greatest be yourself. And be authentic and honest with yourself and others. I'm not saying tell everybody your business and your feelings. Mm-mm. I'm saying when you are in a situation or a relationship, friendship with someone, be honest, be authentic, be true, because you kind of make a commitment to be a friend. You make a commitment to be in a relationship. You make a commitment uh, to be a mother. You make a commitment to be a daughter, sister, cousin. And that's when you make a commitment with somebody. Now, mothering sometimes, unless you planned it, it wasn't a commitment you made, and you just had to make it once it got here. That's like saying going through something, going through something. Now, one day I'm gonna get some gray hair. One day, but I'm gonna get there. I got 3 strands right in here somewhere. Um, I'm gonna get some. But as we conclude our first book, that is successful. Soulful Success Book Club. And you can still get this book on Amazon. And remember, you can get the um, autograph copy off my website, passionwpurpose.square.site. Order that. It's autographed to you. The one on Amazon is not autographed. Remember, our next book, starting the 17th, um, right there, 317. It's going to be Strength Finder 2.0, Tom Rate. I'm excited about that because as I move past this, I got some things to share in there that, because that's the book I was reading last. But please leave in the comments books that we can choose. Until I get those books, we can't choose those books. But I need to know what impacted you, what inspired you, what motivated you. I need you to share that with us. We might need it. Share it. I have a ton of books I'm ready to share too. So share some. Let's get into those. Let's get into quotes from different books that help push us through. Leave it in the chat. Um, don't forget when you get the book, as you practice one of these principles, that you ask yourself these questions in the back to help push you further along. Um, and these are just some ways, as I mentioned, to help you start to create the life you want to have. And the beginning of my planner journal, I gave you a couple of those in the back as well. Um, I made notes. This was my book because it was my preview book. And I always make notes as they come to me when I'm practicing a certain skill. So I just want to say thank you for listening to the Soulful Success Book Club. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and share those books that impacted you. Remember, I have a few, but I want to hear from you. I want to hear what inspired you. What was that quote? What was that book? What was that paragraph or that chapter that took you from point A to B and now you heading towards C and already envision all the way to Z? Give me that. Let's share that. Let's celebrate that. Thank you. And don't forget, our next date is 3/17 for the Soulful Success Book Club, 9 o'clock. Looking forward to seeing you. Have a great day and create the life you want to have. Get your book, get started. See me for the 90 Days to Enhance You program. Have a great day. Bye bye.